everyone, this is Maki. In Gundam Seed Destiny, a significant element known as the Destiny Plan is introduced. It's a concept that determines human roles and ways of living based on genetic aptitude. This method is often seen in policies that create worlds called destroyers in various creative works. In Seed Destiny, the existence of the Destiny Plan is ultimately negated and the story concludes. However, it seems that the Destiny Plan will somehow be involved in the story of the movie Seed Freedom. In the promotional video, a computer screen displaying the contents of the Destiny Plan was shown, and Gilbert Giuliano, the proponent of the Destiny Plan, appears to be lip-purring. What impressions did you all have about the Destiny Plan? It is certainly a policy that poses a high risk of robbing humans of their freedom and future. In the comic version, Kira Yamato sensed the danger that someday human desires may run rampant, leading to a future where genetically engineered humans fit for their roles are created. But what if the person directing the Destiny Plan had rational and peaceful ideologies? What if they were people without discrimination ambition or prioritizing their own wealth? There are works that explore such possibilities. One of the episodes in the spin-off ASTRAY series is an example. The episode titled Princess of the Skies features Fairness Swiker, who attempts to implement a new Destiny Plan. In the movie Seed Freedom, I believe they will probably avoid the same developments as past spin-off works. If that's the case, this story might be a clue to predict the movie's plot. A major flaw in the Destiny Plan proposed by Gilbert Giuliano is its compulsory nature. In the TV, anime, and novel versions, it is not specifically depicted how the enforcement is carried out. How to enforce it against individuals who reject the results of genetic testing remains unclear. However, methods of enforcement at the national level are presented. This involves destroying entire nations with massive weapons. In the story of Princess of the Skies, Fairness also mentions that the flaw of the Destiny Plan is in its imposing nature on people. Another flaw, unnoticed by the characters in the story, is that Gilbert Giuliano himself does not prioritize the implementation of the Destiny Plan as his ultimate goal. The fact is that the Destiny Plan was one of the means he used for personal vengeance. Of course, this can be interpreted differently, as in Gilbert Giuliano does not have personal motives, like discrimination or wealth acquisition concerning the execution of the Destiny Plan. However, such an interpretation is only possible for us, the audience observing the story from the outside world. Fairness eliminated the element of imposition from the Destiny Plan. It involves analyzing people's genetic aptitude and presenting better choices based on the results in an attractive manner, encouraging people to voluntarily choose their own futures. Fairness, being the head of the Earth Union's commercial consortium and maintaining good relations with the plant, had strong public support. He was naturally hailed as the monarch of the people. In the real world too, methods of presenting attractive products or services through TV commercials and various media stirring enthusiasm among people are employed. Fairness was a person who could execute such methods on a cosmic scale. Fairness's version of the Destiny Plan was exceedingly peaceful. It did not involve attacking or destroying those who did not comply. Presented with a more attractive and prosperous lifestyle, many would likely participate in his Destiny Plan. It's a phenomenon akin to the remarkable proliferation of computers and smartphones in the real world. people around the world are not forced to use these tools. They use them because they offer the appeal of making life more convenient and richer. Gilbert Duano's Destiny Prong was criticized for having the flaw of destroying people's futures. Though not explicitly stated, it seems to include an element of only accepting a way of life dictated by the Destiny Prong. As we have discussed, Fairness's Destiny Prong does not impose on people. He says it's merely advice for a better life based on genetic analysis. It does not hinder the emergence of new technologies or the development of culture. Instead, it provides opportunities for people to discover talents in themselves that they might not have realized. If ways to utilize talents and enrich life are presented, people will voluntarily choose those paths, just like how we in the real world choose more convenient tools. Fairness Swiker's Destiny Plan can indeed be called an ideal policy. However, it had a critical flaw. This flaw was not a threat to humanity, nor did it endanger peace. Yet, a significant character in the story, Ross Winslet, would come to confront this flaw. Fairness was an ideal monarch. Free from discrimination and selfish ambitions, he was prepared to utilize all his abilities for the peace of the people. He also understood through analyzing his own genetics that he was extremely suited to be ruler. What do you think is the flaw in Fairness's Destiny Plan? Is it his lifespan? However, in the world of the Seed series, there exists a technology called Carbon Human. If Fairness prepared his perfect biological data, his dedication to humanity could be nearly eternal. In fact, Fairness Swiker possessed a mentality of disliking to dominate others. Of course, it is this mindset that leads to the advantage of not abusing power for personal gain. It creates the paradoxical truth that those who do not desire to rule are most suited to be rulers. Then, isn't Fairness Swiker indeed the right person to lead the Seed world to peace? Some of you might feel that way. However, Ross Winslet did not think so. The greatest flaw in the Destiny Plan proposed by Fairness was that it ignored Fairness's own happiness. There are moments when Fairness expresses his longing for the freedom of others. Additionally, in the battle with the veteran mercenary, it becomes apparent that Fairness is seen as someone who considers ruling to be tedious. Fairness is someone who finds joy and happiness in designing and piloting mobile suits. Becoming a ruler and implementing the Destiny Plan was an act that destroyed Fairness's own future. In the story, Fairness analyzes the genes of Ross Winslet. Ross, a coordinator, possessed excellent managerial abilities. However, her genetic analysis did not reveal elements linked to empathy with others' hearts. Yet, she had formed bonds with many people and showed cooperative behavior. Fairness began to consider the possibility that human potential transcends genetics. Then comes the final battle. Ross and Fairness fight each other in Gundams. Ross's final attack destroys Fairness's load, ASTRAY Omega. At this moment, Fairness is certain of his defeat. However, Fairness unconsciously struggles for victory. He fights not with reason, but with a kind of instinctual emotion. Despite losing most of his mech, he deflects the opponent's weapon, grabs it, and launches a final attack. In this moment, Fairness surpasses the logic of reason and genetics. Just as his final attack seems about to hit Ross's Gundam ASTRAY Gold Frame Amarasu, the movement of the weapon stops mid-air. It was the Gundam ASTRAY gold frame Motsumina approaching using mirage colloid, reminiscent of the scene in the CTV anime, where Nico Amalfi tried to protect the Aegis Gundam. Fairness is astonished not by the intruding Gundam, but by himself, who achieved victory from a logically impossible situation. Ronomina Sahaku, who shielded Ross from Fairness's attack, did not lose her life. Whether this outcome was due to Mina's superior piloting skills compared to Nico is unclear. The difference, if any, lies in a minor element. Nico launched an attack against the strike, while Mina focused on protecting and defending Ross. In the final battle, no one lost their life. Having experienced firsthand that humans can transcend the logic dictated by genetics, Fairness Swiker decided to abandon the implementation of the Destiny Plan. Fairness, as the representative of the Earth Alliance's commercial coalition, resolved to work for the happiness of the people. Thus, the story of Princess of the Skies concludes. In the Seed series, which often portrays harsh and terrifying events, Fairness's story ends with a conclusion filled with hope. The element of a person destined to rule not desiring to do so is also depicted in Crossbone Gundam. The difference between Bellarona and Fairness Swiker might be in their decision to reluctantly accept the role of ruler, not out of desire to dominate, but for the sake of people's peace. And Princess of the Skies delves into the same: is it right to sacrifice the happiness of one for the sake of all humanity? I wonder what stories characters like Orama Haberer and Dolphy Lamtau in the movie will show us. Let's look forward to the new narratives.